Good evening, everyone. Welcome. Thanks for coming out tonight. I'd like to introduce tonight's keynote speaker. Dan Douglas is the director of the Urban Design Center, recipient of the Eisenhower Fellowship, a quite prestigious award. Many of you, I think, probably know Dan. He's a joy to work with, brings a lot of enthusiasm to his job, and is trying to do a lot of things that I think we generally feel are quite important and difficult to achieve. So please help me in welcoming Dan Douglas.
Well, I want to thank everyone for coming, and thank the organizers for having me and that great introduction. What I want to talk about a little bit tonight is creativity and how we make connections between creativity. And I spent some time thinking about, well, what is creativity? And I think it's the generation and linking of new ideas, identifying new patterns, looking for new solutions to old problems, identifying new problems and trying to solve them, and creating new products. And one of the great lines I heard, I didn't invent, was at a city council meeting about intellectual property. And a gentleman said, basically intellectual property and creativity is imagination made real. And I think that's what a lot of folks in this room and a lot of folks that I deal with every day, we spend a lot of our time trying to take a good idea and put it into action. And it is hard, and it's something that it takes a lot of, especially in government, it takes a lot of time to change that ship as it's moving through. So I wanted to show you a few ideas. I'm a little disadvantaged because I can't see, but I wanted to show you a few ideas I saw when I was in Europe on the Eisenhower Fellowship that I think are applicable to things and challenges that are confronting us here in Raleigh. Are they up there? I don't know the order. What is it? Connectivity. I think the other theme of the conference is connectivity, and I need to be able to see it. It's funny. That's all right. I'll wing it. I'll wing it. It's really important to get everyone together like this conference is doing and bring everyone into the same space and let them exchange ideas and talk to each other. And the old network was who do you know? The old good old boy network. And I think that is an old paradigm. In today's economy, it's not who you know, it's who knows who knows what. And every project that I work on in downtown, we have, I can't count how many specialists are in the room. We'll have architects, landscape architects, engineers, social scientists, facilitators, everybody together. And my belief is that always ends up in a better project, especially when you're dealing with public space. You want to bring as many ideas to the table as you can. And I think that occurs generally in the world on three scales. You have the macro scale, which is global. And the best example I can think about that is, the big changes that the internet brought. I know a lot of people talk about it and how it's connecting the world, and it sort of became real for me. Last week, we were interviewing architects for the design of a new city public safety center downtown, and one of the architects pitched this. He said, we have a 24-hour design cycle. We're like CNN. And I asked him, how do you do that? And he said, well, we've opened an office in India. And so our guys work in our office till about 6 o'clock. We take the FTP site, we load all the drawings up. The Indian guys come in the morning and they start on the same drawing. So we're working 24 hours a day on your design, and we can produce it faster than anyone else. And I thought, wow, that's pretty amazing. And I think there's a micro scale, a regional scale, which I think this conference really is all about. Trying to connect people in a region, trying to discover what your regional assets are and make the most of them. And what I spend most, if not all of my time, is the nanoscale, which is about place. And it's about creating places that attract creative people. I'm sure we've all read or at least heard of Richard Florida's work that, every creative person is footloose now, and they're attracted to quality of life, and they can do their work anywhere. And so I spend a lot of time working on the space, between buildings in downtown Raleigh and trying to make it an attractive and exciting place for creative folks and everybody. And I want to show a few examples now, I think, of what I experienced in Europe. And the first one is Barcelona. Wonderful. Barcelona's doing something really, really creative, I think. They've taken an old industrial zoning classification that was 22A, you know, typical planner speak. It's about the most non-exciting name you can come up with. And they changed it to 22-at, and they created an innovation district. So they took an old industrial area of the city, about 110 city blocks, put in new high-tech infrastructure, you know, fiber optics, literally tunnels you can walk in that run down the middle of every street, so when the technology changes, you just pull a new wire through, you don't have to dig anything up. They incentivize the location of high-tech media, biotech, medical, advanced medical companies, and they're in the process of creating about 130,000 new jobs in what was one of the poorer, older industrial districts of the city, incenting about $12 billion of new investment. And I think that's a model that could apply to Raleigh and our region. You know, we have a lot of high-tech companies, but they're not a big presence in our downtown. And the next one is Madrid, the Matadero. This was really probably one of the coolest projects I saw. They took the old municipal slaughterhouse that the city owned. It's about 1 million square feet of space. And they said, well, we want to be one of the cultural and creative capitals of Europe, and we need to do something about that. And so in this space, they have assigned for everyone, so the symphony has a space, the Visual Arts Exchange has a space, the theater, the live music venues. I mean, you name the media or artistic outlet, and they're represented in this building. They spent $150 million creating a space where they could bring all of their local creative talent into one space, connect them all, and allow them to collaborate across multidisciplinary lines. So you're out you know, after work, you work here, you're having a beer, and you know, there's the media guy, there's the you know, visual artist, here's the theater performer, and they're all talking about things and cross-pollinating each other. And I think really that has a lot to do and is a good model for what this conference is all about.